What's up, guys? Ladies. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I made this Kill Bill House of Blue Leaves themed diorama for my Minimates. Alright, so kicking it off, this is a project I've been wanting to do for a while, probably since last year when I picked up the figures, but I kind of put it on the back burners. Then this action figure slash toy photography contest popped up. Photo combat! Hosted by A.C.B.A. on the Facebook page. I'll put a link in the description so you guys go check that out. And it's actually still going on right now, the competition. It's on the tail end of it right now, but still go check it out. Vote for your favorite pictures. Yeah, so unfortunately, I'm already eliminated from the competition. They had about a little over 110 combatants and going head to head Mortal Kombat style. And I was just teamed up with a really good artist, and he just brought his A game, did a little better than me, so got sent home. So this picture right here was my entry for the second round, and the second round was themed strength in numbers. So, like one person versus a grip of people. So that's kind of the reason why I had to get on it and make this dial, because I knew this is what I wanted to go with for that particular theme. So this picture actually did really well. I advanced to the next round and actually won fan votes too, so I was really stoked on that. Alright, so kicking it off again. So this is how I started out. I had some pink insulation foam that I got from Home Depot, and most of these were scrap pieces. I think I had one good piece that were scrap pieces. I kind of cut them down a little bit to the size I needed. Then I cut out the square in the middle, so that's where you'd see like the rock Zen garden, or whatever the hell that's called. And this pink insulation foam comes with like a glossy layer on it, and I usually just like briefly sand it off, which I wouldn't recommend doing unless you have like a mask and you do it outside, because you get little foam particles like everywhere. And the reason I do that is because it makes it a little easier to carve detail, and I think it absorbs the paint a little bit better too. Then I started carving out like a tile pattern around the carved out square in the middle. And at first I started winging it and actually came up with a decent design, so then I just went with it all the way around and it actually worked out. Then I do a black wash on all the foam, so I get some black paint and I water it down a little bit and just put it like all over there and let it seep in and dry up. And then around the carved tiles, I'm going to have like hardwood. So what I did, I grabbed a handful of popsicle sticks and I cut the ends off of each of them with wire snippers, ones like these. Then I sanded out the edges on all the popsicle sticks and the front and back of it to make sure it was kind of smooth. That way it will absorb the paint a little bit better and it won't splinter or anything like that. So what I did for the popsicle stick color, I just got brown paint and I diluted it so that it more soaked into the wood, more like a stain, so you still get all the wood grain on there. You can see a little before and after, so you can see the popsicle stick still retains all its texture, it's just a darker shade. And since I'm doing a hardwood style floor, I tried to pick the straightest popsicle sticks I could find. There's a bunch of wonky ass little ones in there, so I had to pick through those, and I use those just to usually mix the paint or something like that. I usually put them to use still. Okay, so painting the individual tiles was such a pain in the ass. I chose to use 3 different shades of blue, so I mixed 3 different shades up. So what I did, I cut up a bunch of index cards and I put them in the grooves so that way when I paint each individual tile, it doesn't bleed over into the next section, which was such a pain in the ass, and it still came out a little bit sloppy because I got lazy on it, but whatever, that was my fault. And I kind of regret not doing a solid pattern too. I kind of just went all chaos with it, thinking it would look better, but I think if I would have done it uniform, I think it would have looked a lot better. And the thing to remember too when you're using the index cards like that is to work quick, because you want to pull out the index card before it dries, because if the paint dries to the index card and dries to the foam, it's going to peel out the foam, so you want to do it quick before it dries. So after all the blue dried, I went over it with some black and some white. I kind of dry brushed it, so I got just a little bit of paint on the brush, and I kind of just hit a couple spots to kind of give it some wear and tear, kind of look dirty, or kind of give it different texture. So after all the paint was dry, I started gluing down the popsicle sticks with hot glue, and I used the wire snippers to cut them down to size as needed so everything fit in nice and snug. And for the glass plate in the middle, I just used a CD jewel case. What I did, I just measured it out, and then I cut it with the Dremel with the sanding disc, and then I just hot glued it in there and then covered the seams with popsicle sticks. So for the sand pattern, what I did, I got black poster board and I just measured out the square, drew the design in pencil, and then went over it with glue gun. And then I got tacky glue spray and sprayed that over that, and then put sand, and then tacky glue spray, and then sand. And I kept doing that until I got a consistency that I was satisfied with. So the white sand, I found a bag of it at the dollar store, and the 2 little rocks, they're just rocks I found at the beach. Then I just glued the black poster board to the bottom of the floor, and then the floor is all done. And so for one of the walls, what I did, I got white computer paper, and I just glued that to one of the pieces of foam. And then I had like this clear, kind of like tracing paper. It was almost like a rice paper. And I had just drawn squares on that with a Sharpie and a ruler. And then that reddish bamboo is just like a table mat that I chopped up that I got from the dollar store. And the sticks are like these skinny sticks used for like coffee stirs. I just did the same thing with the popsicle sticks. I cut the ends off and sanded them and just painted them black. Initially, I was going to keep it like that, but I thought it was a little plain, so I decided to go a little bit different. I chopped up more of the table mat and I kind of made like an overhang. I think that gave it a little better look. Then I put a little banner on there to fill some space. Alright, I'm giving anybody 10 style points and 5 street cred. You could tell me what movie this banner's from and what it says. A little Easter egg for you. So the little walkway's made out of balsa wood. A couple little sticks I pulled off a bamboo mat. The paper that comes inside a pizza box that your pizza sits on. A couple of painted black skinny sticks. And these little plant things that I pulled off of this little sheet that I got from the dollar store. So initially, with all the ends that I chopped off from all the popsicle sticks, I wanted to make tile on the top of the roof, but that was going to be way too much work. So then I just happened to have that sheet of the pizza box paper, so I just painted that up and cut it to size. So I think this thing's supposed to be like grass or something, but I just cut off a couple pieces just to make that plan on the entranceway. And that pizza box paper, this is kind of what it looks like raw. I think this is from like a candy, but it's like the same material. So that tealish color on the roof, I made a bunch of it because I knew I wanted to make the wall the same color so it kind of matched up. And the roof, I kind of just dry brushed it. So I just got a little bit of black paint on my brush and I just kind of painted it on there just to give it a little wear and tear. And I just used hot glue to glue everything together. The main wall / entrance. So for the bottom panel, I had a different kind of bamboo mat that I chopped up and hot glued there. And I kind of rolled it where it meets at the entrance. And then I used more of that teal paint for the top. The vertical sticks are the black skinny sticks. And the horizontal planks are just balsa wood. And I kind of wish I used a long solid piece for the top in the middle so it looked a little more smooth. But I kind of just used scrap pieces that I had. An actual door is just paper and skinny sticks. So then the other bigger wall probably had the more work done to it. So then the bottom panel is the same thing with the computer paper and that clear kind of rice paper with the Sharpie drawn squares. And then the middle piece is supposed to be like the second floor. So what that is just a pink foam that I sanded and painted brown with some dry brushing to make it look like wood. And then the little supports is just the black skinny sticks hot glued together. And a little banner is just a design I found online that I printed out on cardstock, cut it out and glued it on there. And then on the top bunk, that railing is just matchsticks and skinny sticks that I just painted brown. Same kind of staining idea I did with the hardwood flooring. And then I just glued that all together. So the top part of the wall is just this random scrapbook paper that I had. And I cut little squares out and I glued that onto pieces of poster board, those little squares, and I bordered it with skinny sticks. So that way it looks like they're like slider doors up there. So I know I didn't mention this before, but you can see on the right hand side, there's like a magnet inside the wall. What I did, I just put magnets on the walls and the border of the floor. So that way everything sticks together. So when I set up the shot, things aren't moving around. It stays all put, and then I could take it down and reassemble it as needed. So I'm glad I finally made this diorama. It was real fun to make. Didn't really take too long. Didn't cost that much money. And it's real fun to pose my figures in and everything like that. And I think it looks real cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. And we'll see you next time. Yeah!